What can I say about the H3 podcast? Nothing, really, not a lot, because I've not really watched it. In fact, I haven't watched it ever. I have never watched the H3 podcast. Is it the H3 podcast or H3? Is it two H3s? I don't know. I've never watched it. I know more about Ethan Klein through osmosis and through the internet and, just casual scrolling and browsing than I do about his actual content and podcasts and whatever else he does. So today I thought I'd do something perhaps a little torturous, but we'll see. I'm going to watch an episode of the H3 podcast. And I want it to be as, vanilla, as raw of an experience as possible. I'm not going to go through and find the best episode or whatever. I'm going to watch today's podcast from today of March 19th, 2025. It is titled Goodbye, Ian, number 124. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to see what is the hubbub. What are people still watching Ethan Klein for? Being as open and honest as I can be, I'm not a fan of Ethan Klein. I don't like much of his past behavior, and I don't like much of his current behavior. So, this is not an unbiased video. However, I will try to judge the podcast in and of itself as best as I can. I'll try not to go too hard on Ethan. We'll see what happens. It was a silly little idea that came to my head just like 5 minutes ago, and here I am. Without further ado, here's me watching my first episode of the H3 podcast, and hopefully my last episode of the H3 podcast. God willing. Okay, so I couldn't really record myself watching it because I'm gonna be real with you. I didn't actually make it through the whole episode. I had to skim a little bit. It was I jotted down some key points that I wanted to touch on, and we'll just touch on them, and we'll leave it at that. The beginning of the episode is pretty boring. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I think that's because they talked about the subathon a lot, and since I didn't watch the subathon, since I don't have any investment in these people, I just didn't care. And that's probably more on me for choosing this episode as the one episode I would watch. But this was the episode that aired that day, and so here I am. Oh, there's like this weird little part in the beginning. It's only weird because Ethan later reminds me how old he is. He reminds me that he's going to be 40 in a few months. So him dabbing with this kid is like, it was cringe. It was cringe. It was cringe because you are almost 40 dabbing. But not only that, the entire crew then just starts clapping for him, I guess. Like, it was just weird. It was a weird cringe moment. I didn't get it. Okay, so the next thing, and I need you to tell me if I'm just insane here, because I watched this back when I went to record it for the video, and now I'm not sure what's happening here. Because basically, Ethan does something that, like, I could never do, which is he puts his burrito on the table. And you hear him in the video go, they don't give me. Well, let me just show you. Let me just show you.
Aioli, maybe?
You don't
No,
like
it's not that
creamy.
one.
If I want.
Is your burrito just down on the desk? Like not on a plate?
It's wrapped. It's wrapped.
No, it's just
No,
it's on the desk.
on the desk.
Oh, it's not wrapped. Then.
They
don't give you a wrap. It's just a stupid box.
Personal ick aside, because him putting the burrito on the table like that, it's just insane to me. I am such a germaphobe when it comes to food, so that is just, could not be me. That aside, I want to draw your attention to something he says at the very end here.
They don't give you a wrap. It's just a stupid box. It's just a stupid box. It's just a stupid box.
Ethan clearly says they don't give you a wrap, it's just a stupid box. So, what the fuck is this?
Well, we're gonna boost you.
Now, I could be wrong, but that looks like a wrapper. I'm not sure if he's gaslighting me or if he forgot he had a rapper or if he's covering now because he got caught with his burrito on the table and now he's like embarrassed. He lets his dogs up on the table, so maybe that's it. Maybe he's a little maybe he's like maybe he knows that it's a little gross. I can't tell what what's happening here, but I'm bothered by it because there was very clearly a wrapper. This burrito definitely came in a wrapper. We saw the wrapper. I don't know. I don't know. What is it, Ethan? What is it? Tell me what it is, please. After that, they wish AB a happy birthday. Spend some time looking at famous birthdays and talking about that. Again, nothing too interesting, but whatever. Then they advertise some merch, and personally, I didn't hate the first shirt. The first shirt, I think I did like the kind of like sketch design of it. The second shirt wasn't really my jam. It was not something I would actively seek out, and ultimately, definitely not something I would buy at full price for $40. Whew, boy. If I saw it at like the thrift store, on the rack for like a few bucks, I'd probably buy it then. But it's definitely not something I personally would spend that much money on. But that's more so a personal taste thing, and this is not a fashion review, so I'll just leave it at that, I guess. They do a whole like vacation slide bit kind of thing, where they look at their Disney trip, and again, this is my fault because of this being the episode I'm watching, but I was just not invested. I'm not invested when my own friends try and show me their vacation slides, so I was of course not invested when people I don't know and the man I don't like tried to show me his vacation slides. And it just it was not it was boring. Have you ever had to sit through someone actually showing you their vacation photos? Because I have. I have. It's only fun if you were there, okay? It's only fun if you were there. No one wants to see the pictures from your trip. One or two pictures, sure, great, love it. It's only fun to see all of the stuff that you did if I was there doing it with you. Come on. Like it doesn't it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. At least not for me. I'm like, that's great. I'm glad you had a good time. Can we move on now? They spent an hour on this. They spent an hour on this, okay? And like my own personal disinterest aside, that still just seems too long, even if I was interested. So then we have Ethan making this joke.
Wait, let me see if I can find that photo. It's pretty funny.
Ian got deported by ICE back to England.
This is a little too real with everything going on. I don't know.
But he's a citizen of America.
Right.
So Ethan makes a joke here, and it's not like his worst joke ever. On the scale of, most offensive Ethan Klein jokes, I'm sure this falls fairly low. That being said, it it's I mean, like Dan said, it's too soon, but also it it's just tone deaf and shitty, but I mean, it's edgy, I guess. This is the edgy humor that people love Ethan for. Okay. I think what also bothers me about the joke is that he seems to think that him being a citizen makes it like less bad that he made the joke, but we know that citizens are getting caught in this sort of huge immigration dragnet, and it's just really just not a good joke. It's just a bad joke. Bad joke. I mean, I guess at least he recognized it was not a great joke. That's more than I usually see from him, so that's cool, I guess. I also find the next joke he makes particularly interesting because Well, let me play it first.
Yeah, he was born here.
Giardia? Something about Giardia.
Something about Giardia? Yeah, sure.
My floor is covered in shit in Giardia.
And I'm licking it right now, currently.
They're investigating you, homie.
So I'm not gonna like try and police Ethan on what jokes he can make about his own situation. That's whatever. If I were Ethan, I would not, and I was like in Ethan's head, I would not be making the same joke that I personally believe got CPS called on me. I wouldn't be making that same joke again, even in a more like joking tone. I would just steer away from it in general. You know, I would just try and be a little bit more careful about the things I say on my podcast, but again, that's just me. I'm not in Ethan's head, so I can't really do that. And I'm not sure that I believe that it was the Giardia joke that got CPS called on him. Ethan believes it was, so that's why I framed it like that. One more point here before I started skimming. Ethan spends some time making fun of the Republican lawmaker that got caught trying to solicit a minor and is, been arrested and everything, which was fine. No problem making fun of predators here. But then he says some other things that I did want to touch on more. So I'll play the clip and then I'll talk about it.
It looks like he forced his family to be in a commercial. Oh god, I feel so bad.
Oh.
His wife is beautiful. Although I don't think people cheat on their wives because they're not
It's
pretty.
not about.
Yeah.
It's usually not about like looks or whatnot. It's deeper than that, like fucking psycho shit.
it's
It's like
Sussy.
I don't
Control,
know. It could be
yeah.
a control thing. Like why
Yeah.
why would someone like Hassan go have sex with a prostitute at a brothel in Europe that got later?
Oh, that's not what I meant. I just meant the cheating part.
No, what do you mean?
Just personally, I meant the cheating and the like pedo part.
But why would someone like Hassan, with people throwing themselves at his feet, find the need to have sex with a prostitute
I don't know.
that was later rated for human trafficking? He lies about that. It says it was tax. It was both.
Interesting.
It was human trafficking and tax.
Cool.
Hassan Piker.
To me, that's kind of pathological for someone Hassan to go sleep with a prostitute. Like that's just fucking weird. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, they might have a good time going to a brothel together.
So, this is an article about the brothel that Hassan went to and the raid specifically. And it says the operators of the Artemis brothel had launched 2 lawsuits after police raided the premises in 2016. The city administration has apologized for detaining staff and making prejudicial statements at a press conference. The important part here being the prejudicial statements part. Here, the article talks about the raid, and this is the part that Ethan likes to leave out. Words, public prosecutors made references to organized crime, but the accusations could not be proven, and the Berlin Regional Court would not admit the prosecution's case in 2018. So, personally, I think it's a little disingenuous for Ethan to reference an somewhat truthful event, but leave out the important part, which is that the accusations were ultimately bunk. They were ultimately not true. They were ultimately unproven. Not only were they unproven, but the city had to compensate the brothel for making them. I'm not doing this because I'm like some big Hassan fan or something. I do like Hassan, but I'm not like a huge I'm not like a diehard Reinhard. You know what I mean? My thing is I hate liars. I really hate liars, and that's part of why Ethan has been bothering me so much lately is that he lies a lot. He lies a lot, he leaves out the truth a lot, and it's not just him, it's also this tactic that's been adopted by the right, by conservatives. And so for him to really lean into this tactic that has been so successful for conservatives and for the Trump administration and all kinds of stuff, and still try to paint himself as a liberal, it's a little sketch to me. It has me looking at him sideways, but I've already been looking at him sideways, so I guess it has me looking at him like extra sideways, if that's even possible. At the end of that clip, or at least this is how I took it, he seems to insinuate that Hassan and the Republican lawmaker, they would get along going to a brothel together. And he also says that it's pathological for Hassan to go to a brothel. And I want to dissect that a little bit because when I heard him say this, I wasn't sure what he meant by pathological. Like I know what the word means, but in this context, I couldn't figure out what he was trying to say because it didn't make sense to me. So I looked it up. I looked up the definition. Britannica Dictionary defines it as extreme in a way that is not normal or that shows an illness or mental problem. Then it gives an example. He is a pathological liar, gambler. She has a pathological fear of heights. He's very much, in my opinion, trying to paint Hassan to be this kind of like sex obsessed freak kind of thing, like a sex pest kind of thing. And it's not just this, but stuff like always talking about Hassan using his looks to bait his audience, talking about his profile picture where he shows his armpit. And now this part where he calls him pathological because Hassan went to a brothel, what, one time? And because he went this one time, it's pathological. It's extreme in a way that is not normal or in a way that shows an illness or a mental problem. Now, I don't know Hassan personally. I can't say for sure whether or not he has a sex problem, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he doesn't. I'm going to say maybe I don't think that he does. That's just my opinion based on what I have seen. I have not seen anything to suggest that he does have that issue. I am personally pro sex work, pro sex worker, and I think the idea of Ethan to kind of act like he's pro sex work, even in this like clip, Olivia tries to like say that she says that I want to make it clear that we're pro sex work, and but you said it perfectly talking about like whatever Ethan said, but then Ethan goes on to say this, and it's like I don't think that this to me isn't very pro sex work. This idea that going to a brothel one time for Hassan is pathological. He makes the insinuation that because Hassan has people quote unquote throwing themselves at him, it's pathological that he went to a brothel, but it just doesn't make any sense. It just the use of the word doesn't make any sense. His critique doesn't make any sense. His analysis doesn't make any sense. And I did want to draw attention to it though, because I'm noticing more and more that he's kind of laying on this idea that Hassan is like sex obsessed. It started with being looks obsessed, and now I feel like it's leaning into sex obsessed. And I feel like this is like a dark path that we're headed down here with this sort of painting of somebody like this. It's just not it's not going to lead to a good place. And I just wanted to make that as clear as I could, I guess. I don't know if I did make it very clear. I don't know if I'm just reading into things too much, but at this point, I think giving Ethan charitability is not something I really have much of. So, all right, I'm gonna wrap the video up here. Rapid fire, last minute opinions on the episode. It was boring. I tried to be charitable and nice to it, I guess. It was boring though. It was boring. I just didn't care. And that again could be because of the episode I watched, but I'm not watching another episode. I'm not putting myself through that. I didn't even make it through this entire episode. My notes cut off at about the 2 hour mark because I couldn't make it through the last hour. It was just I skimmed it, didn't see anything or hear anything that jumped out to me, and I left it at that. So sorry. 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 My bad. My bad, bro. Like, comment, subscribe, check out my other videos, follow me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. I think that's it. I think that's it. Peace, love, and all that jazz. Don't be like Ethan Klein. Don't be like Ethan. Just don't. It's not good for anybody. All right. Bye.